All garden going, hadn't quite got there yet.
Well, I planted some stuff in the community garden, I guess about a week ago when there was a break in the weather for a short time.
Yeah,
So I got stuff replanted over there.
yeah.
And it was kind of,
All the sessions are ordered. Minutes from the previous month.
oh, I've got one, yeah. Is this tonight?
Yeah. There's some stuff on there.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes from the previous month.
Oh,
Financial reports. Any questions about the financials?
She's blending in. You can sit here.
Water and sewer report. Most of you know, Mark has taken a job elsewhere, so he's not with us anymore, and I'll attempt to try to take up slack. For the month, we bought, 5,890,000 gallons, sold 4,391,000 for, difference of 1,498,000. Which constitutes a 25% water loss. I think we had one pretty good sized leak over toward the water trace that drained a lot of water out, so. That is, I am filling in for Mark, trying to get everything done, but, Billy is still in the lab at the plant. He did get, I've announced this before, he did get his grade 3 wastewater license, and we gave him a raise.
Cool.
So,
That's awesome.
he's doing a good job down there. He's just taking it up and running with it. So, if you got any questions, I'll try to find some answers.
how often can they go for certification to the next level? Just when they feel like they're ready?
Yes. You can go to school and get so much operating experience for the grade class you're taking. Otherwise, you can, take some classes and get a better understanding of what the grade requires. So, Billy's going, got to have another, collection system and a distribution license. So, to have the 3 that's required. So,
So he would be able to go and take Mark's place, or what, can he really do that? Like, take the next step up and take Mark's place, or whatever his
with the collection and distribution, yes, that would be all that'd be required to run the system.
And a different pay increase for that as well, with the part of the thing.
I'm good.
And then maybe look at hiring someone else and fulfill what Shelley was doing
For,
in the one department.
I'm looking to hire somebody right now. I've got one application. He doesn't have any experience in water or wastewater. Experience is plus, for sure. We have with us tonight, Travis Wilson, who's our engineer with LJA, and I'll turn the floor over to him to talk about the loan grant that we're looking at for planning for the new wastewater treatment plant. And capital improvement plan.
Is that what this is about?
Yes.
I appreciate you having me. So, my name is Travis Wilson. I've worked with the town since 2010. Very familiar with the system. We've done a lot of projects over the years. So the first thing that we'll talk about is the table, the capital improvement plan. Looks like it's there on the left. Basically, TDEC says that you need to have a list of projects that the town is working on. So it's not that we're short of things to do, it's just that we're short of money to do things with. And so we have to really prioritize what work is essential and what work can wait. Unfortunately, a lot of things have been kicked the can and kicked the can and kicked the can. Just because it's, Bell Buckle is a small town, it has minimal revenue, and so we depend on grants to get things done. So we've been fortunate to receive a lot of grants over the last few years, where we were able to do some projects like the web water tank. That was totally paid for. We received a lot of grant money that's almost totally paid for. The Main Street project for the water and sewer. We were fortunate to have the ARP funds that paid for the rehabilitation of the sewer system this past year. And so we have been able to do a lot of things, but unfortunately there's still a lot of things to do. It's a small town, but we still have a wastewater treatment plant, 30 miles of sewer, pump stations and booster stations. We have 3 water tanks. And so there's still a lot of very expensive items that need to be kept and maintained. And so we work with your auditor on the funds and try to get grants where possible to help maintain some of these projects. Unfortunately, the town is under consent order for both water and sewer. You have a director's order on the sewer side that we're addressing currently. The rehab project help address with ARP funding. You're currently under consent order on the water side, so there's some things that TDEC mandates that you do. And these projects are part of that. And so, unfortunately, if you just don't do things, TDEC will come in and mandate that you do them on their own time, where you can plan and budget and do things on your time to where it's acceptable to TDEC. And so that's what we're trying to maintain, that balance of doing things affordably, but yet in TDEC's liking, so that we satisfy their requirements. And I'm sure as everybody here wants to do is they want to maintain a clean environment and good water and quality services for water and sewer, and so that's of the utmost what the mayor wants to do is to ensure that everyone has quality services here, and so that's part of what these projects address. So we look out 5 years and try to project and make sure that the rates are sustainable for the 5-year period, and the current rate structure is sustainable for the projects that are listed in the CIP table. So TDEC has gone through a financial review as part of this other grant that we'll talk about in just a minute, which what TDEC does is before they will even give you free money, they want to make sure that you can pay the depreciation on that money. So you could be given $2 million, and that's great, do a $2 million project, but then you have to turn around and pay depreciation on the $2 million. So free money is not really free, because you have to maintain depreciation as part of your balance. So TDEC even requires you to consider the free money or the grant money that you receive, which is part of this the other thing we'll talk about. So all that's divided up. So there's columns that have grant money and the free money and then the borrowed money that you would have, and that's via loan or bond. And then there's cash for small items. So like there's pump replacements, EQ mixers and things that are not small. They're $25,000, $30,000, but in the scheme of operating a wastewater system or a water treatment system, those things are negligible, unfortunately. Everything's a big ticket item. So there are a few things that are loan driven. So wastewater treatment plant upgrade is a big ticket item. So your wastewater treatment plant is almost 50 years old. And we have done a number of projects over the last 2 decades of trying to upgrade the treatment plant, put headworks in. Your main suction lift pump at the plant originally went out. We had to modify so that it went through a splitter box in the EQ. And so there's a lot of projects that have gone on at the treatment plant to make that continue to run over these last 15 or so years. And most recently, the town has upgraded the filters, the sand filters in the treatment plant. So unfortunately, it's like buying an old car. If you get a good car for free, but you have to pay $30,000 to make it run and put all new transmission, an all new engine, and all electronics, and all of that in an old car that's you were given for free, that you could have paid for a new car for the same price. That doesn't make much sense. And so you're almost at the point, past the point of that with your wastewater treatment plant, that you're going to be in a position where you're going to have to pour a lot of money into that plant just to keep it running. And as you get a new permit, which is issued every 5 or 6 years, TDEC will never back off any requirements. So you will never get more leniency with a new permit. They will either give you the same permit with the same requirements, or you'll have greater stringent requirements imposed. And so you're probably at the point where it's going to be difficult for your new operator, that the mayor just mentioned, to maintain a plant that can maintain and meet all the limits of the plant without pouring a bunch of extra money. So you're going to put money into that regardless. And so do you want to invest and keep pouring money into something that eventually won't work at all? Or invest in a new plant that will last another 50 to 60 years with little to no money other than just regular maintenance. So that's what that big ticket item is. Unfortunately, Bell Buckle is very difficult to get large grants here. The state and people in the state think this is one of the wealthiest places in the state of Tennessee. And so Mayor and I have tried to convince everyone otherwise, but they still maintain there's plenty of money here. So getting grants is very difficult. Although we've been very fortunate to get a lot of money in the last several years. But we have to kind of wait our turn. And so when grant money comes here, it's, if you don't take it, then you're probably gonna miss out for a while. Unfortunately, a treatment plant upgrade or a new plant is very expensive. And so it's a process too. It's not something you can just start and build and be done in 6 months. It takes several years to get permitted and to buy equipment and get online and do the design. It's a several year process from start to finish. And so you can't plan when it's an emergency, because what happens in an emergency is if that plant quits running, you would have to rent what's called a package plant, and that costs X number, thousands of dollars a month to maintain sewer, wastewater treatment in the meantime, and that would be possibly for years. And so that would be an additional cost on top of this. So you kick the can to the point where you're playing a lot of roulette with so anyway, we put together a budget that works with your rate structure, your current rate structure, and it has things in there that are imperative. So the things that we'll talk about tonight is wastewater treatment plant upgrade. It has a grant attached, and also the Cascade water tank rehabilitation. So the Cascade storage tank, you're under consent order. You receive violations from TDEC. They said you've had some inspections and you're past time on getting that sandblasted, painted. So although there are no major issues that need to be resolved, you're at the point where you have to do something, number one, because TDEC says so, number two, because otherwise, if you wait until it's an emergency on a water storage tank, then you don't have water in the tank. And so, that's a mandate. You're under consent order. We have a schedule that we have to meet. That's an agreed legal binding order for the state. And so, that would be that we have to bid the project out and that it would be repaired next summer while school is out. So we're able to negotiate with TDEC to have that done while school's out, so that the school would maintain fire flow while kids were in school, and that we could maneuver the water between the other two tanks during that time, so that everyone still has water without risking fire flow at the school during school time. So that's one of the projects that we have, and there's a task order for that, for us to facilitate that, the design and the bidding, and oversee the rehabilitation for that. And so that has to be done in a 2-month period, and so we have to allot them enough time so that they can schedule that. So the plan is to bid that sometime before the end of the year, with the stipulation the contractor would have to perform that work between May and June, or June, July, after school is out of next year. And so, again, that's under the consent order for the state on that schedule. And so we're trying to be proactive and provide a lot of lead time for the contractor, because that will get you the best prices. If you have an emergency and you need something right now, people pay extra for that. So we're not in that predicament at this point. We've given the contractor almost a year's time to plan and have that scheduled. So that is one of the projects. The second project is a grant that the town received through SRF. So we apply for every grant that's possible. So the state revolving fund, we've been fortunate to receive a lot of grants over the years from SRF. And so you have received a grant. It's a planning and design grant. So what that means is they're going to pay a portion of that planning and design grant. So the town will get $250,000 of free money to do the planning and design portion of that. So that's something that has to be done as part of the process, is to design the new treatment facility. And so the town, if they choose, can go forward with the grant that allows $250,000 grant portion. That's at a low interest rate. So recently we had another utility with bonds, and those bonds are currently at about 6%. And I think this interest rate is, what was that, Mayor,
2.47.
2.47. So it's a low interest, and you get free money. Again, I know it's not cheap, but again, you're going to pay for it at some point. And so you have $250,000 of free money plus interest rate at less than half of what you can get in the open market through SRF. And they perform a financial review on your last 5 years audit and your rate structure to ensure that you can pay that back. Else they would not have given you opportunity to get the money. They would have required you to raise rates or do something different. So anyway, is there anything else, Mayor, that you wanted me to cover on the CIP table?
And you said payback on this 975 started when?
The payback starts when the planning and design is completed. And so our plan is to start the design sometime between now and the end of the year, if this would be approved. It would probably be spread out over the rest of this fiscal year and part of the next fiscal year. So it's, again, we could probably speed that up, but we probably don't need to speed that up. I mean, we do, but we don't, because the longer it takes to get the new plan online, then you're risking things breaking. And so, there's a risk, you take longer, you spread the money out, longer period, but yet you may have to pay for repairs to keep things going, because you can't just turn it off and not have a treatment plan. And so the requirements are you to pay that back starting when you're at 90% complete for the planning and design. So when we turn in the 90% plans to TDEC, and they would initiate the payback. And so SRF would float the money until then through that low interest loan, and then you would begin payback after that over the next 5-year period.
Any questions, Mr. Wilson?
I've got one. Out of curiosity, everything that you hear about all the hacks in the water systems across the country, is this new system going to be able to counteract that?
All the what?
Hacks that are going across the country with the water systems?
Oh, you're talking about
Breach.
security breaches?
Yep.
So unfortunately, this has nothing to do with security breaches. I know that the town has security measures in place. That's something that TDEC requires, through software, and so most of these are coming through, generally speaking, because I'm not aware of a specific instance other than just generally, they come through SCADA, which is just over the PLC, which is your control centers at different points of your plant, and they're able to hack into those because they have no controls. Well, this is where Bell Buckle is in a good place, because you don't have a lot of high technology controls that are over the air that people can get into. It's all, you've got old school stuff. So it's like you have an old 8-track tape player down there.
I was thinking about the new things that were coming in a year.
Yeah, so new things, they would have those security measures incorporated with that.
Okay.
Right now, you're fairly safe with your 8-track tape player.
Gotcha. Good statement.
All right, you guys got firewalls and stuff in place to I think detect, people trying to, phishing and whatever else goes on, to get a jump on that. And TDEC has been sending us stuff on a regular basis, be on watch and watch your computers and stuff. So keep an eye on that. Hopefully it won't happen to us. And the only thing we do more or less is monitor things like tank levels and things like that. But I guess they can hack into those and make you think you got more water than you got, or you're losing water and actually you're not. So it just makes everything go haywire when you try to find a leak that you don't have.
Yeah.
But you got any questions for? All right, we got this resolution, got 3 of them.
I already have it.
Area design, okay. Review and assessment, this is on the Cascade tank. It's a resolution to.
Yeah, I think there's a task order for the tank and a resolution that says the board accepts and then wants to move forward with the grant / SRF loan for the treatment plant. And then the CIP table, there's no motion except for, just, that'll be up to y'all to accept it, or just, it's for knowledge. That's what we put together based on what the needs are in getting with Mark before he left, and the mayor, and what needs to be done, what projects are on the front burner, and the timing out to the next 5 years. And so certainly things could change. The way we do those is every year you redo that. It's just like balancing a budget. Those things change annually, and you have to revisit that because those hot items may be replaced with something way hotter between now and February or something, and so we may have to drop things off because, like I said, you don't have a blank checkbook, and so we have to really just really pay attention to what's required and what's really necessary at the time, and so those are things that are on the front burner currently.
Why do, the improvement plan, why is the majority of the money, the loan, pushed out to 2030 and 2030?
Okay, good question. So that's the construction portion, and so, so the first part is to utilize the free money, is to get the grant for the design portion, because that's where the free money come from. We applied to get grant money for the construction and the design. They didn't give it to us. They gave us $0 grant for the construction. And so what we did is we tried to push that out far enough to where we're trying to give you some breathing room. But again, it's a balancing act, because the further you push that out, the more possible you have problems. But if you have a design ready to go, then it's not like you're starting from scratch. So at least you have something that's finished, designed, approved by the state, it's permitted, and then all you have to do is bid it, and you're a lot closer than if you just have to start from like today. If you're in an emergency, then everybody be in a white hot panic, and so those two things may change depending on what happens to the plant operationally in the next year or two.
So when do you estimate actual construction would begin?
Right now, we're projecting 2030.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yes.
If that was,
Yeah, because the design would be FY 27, 28, and then we have a buffer at 29 that may need to slide closer or not. And so, really you do, but, like I said, we're just trying to spread it out that's as far as we could comfortably spread it out.
Any other questions? Thanks, sir.
Okay.
We ask you to vote on that when we get to that part of the regular session. Fire report. Mr. Chief.
Good evening. For July, we had 14 calls. 8 of those were medical, 6 were fire calls. Of that, we had 1 car fire, 2 public services, a mutual aid structure fire, fire alarm, which was a false alarm, carbon monoxide alarm, and 2 trainings for a total of 5.5 man hours, which is pretty light.
Question, not fire report. Thank you. Planning commission report.
So we haven't had a new meeting since I reported the last time. That meeting is scheduled for August the 24th. So everything was discussed from the previous meeting.
what time?
5:30.
Chamber of Commerce report.
There's nothing to report tonight. Heather's sick, she would have been here, but she said there wasn't anything to report tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Parks and Rec report.
Craig is out of town, so he asked me to give a report. We don't have a lot since, in July, as we reported last time, we didn't have our regular meeting, but had the budget planning meeting in lieu of that. And we've not yet had our August meeting, because it's the 3rd Monday, which will be next week. However, we do have some small items just to mention for your information. Each meeting, we do a review of the fiscal report that we receive from Town Hall on our funds flow, and then also do an update of the status of our budget up to that point at the end of the month. And in July, which is the first month of our new budget year, we started with about 44,000 transfer over from the past fiscal year. And it had a number of major items in July, like the new gravel parkway bill came in, and we've had a number of repair projects that we've been able to do on the amphitheater. So we, on the report, and the committee hasn't seen this yet, but we ended up with about 18,000 at the end of the month in July. So that's probably a new low on our end of month reports. The items in the amphitheater that we repaired have been some kind of chronic items that have been bugging us, like the roof continues to leak, and we got that repaired. The squirrel intrusion chewed through one of the ceilings in a couple of the storerooms. We had that ceiling repaired after part of the roof repair being the squirrel intrusion fix. And the netting over the stage area had some breaks in it that birds were getting back in it, and that was part of the repair. And all of our storerooms in that building and in the square pavilion over by the restrooms had storage just scattered all over the floor of the room, and we had new shelves built in that. So those are a couple of the main items in addition to our routine expenses through the month. Couple issues, small items to report on the playground. We had one of the what's called the bouncer toys. If you're familiar with that, they're on a steel spring. It's like a carousel, small animal type figure. One of those broke, and that's kind of a major fix item that we're exploring getting it replaced. And one of the original oak trees that was planted, original memorial oak trees that was planted at the playground, when it was put in, the memorial brick was planted right up next to the tree, and so the roots started intruding around the brick. And so we were able to get that out by breaking up the concrete around the brick without damaging the roots that much, and hopefully saving the tree itself. Pavilion rentals in July and August have been low, I guess because of the weather, the heat. We had no rentals in July and only one so far in August, and none yet on the schedule for the rest of the month. So we're open for rentals. Those go toward the building fund and repairs on maintenance on buildings, so that's always a help with that part of it. At the pavilion, there are 2 barbecues on stands, and one of those had rusted out totally. And so we finally find the source of the company that we could order from those, and we've got a replacement on that order placed in just this past week. One item from the tree board, the end of this month on 1 September is when the Tennessee Forestry Division opens their nursery for seedling sales. And that's our source for the seedlings that we disperse on Arbor Day in March. And in the past, we've had trouble with the purchases because people try to get their order in early in the year and exhaust the supply. So we always try to have our order in on the 1st of September at the beginning of that. And we're planning on discussing that in our meeting next week and making a decision on potentially what will be on that inventory we can order from. And that's about it.
Any question? Thank you. Historical Committee report.
Nothing there either. Nothing. There isn't anything to report.
Okay. Beautification Committee.
Beautification, we're gonna paint the inside of the caboose in the fall and put all the new interior back together. The pollinary garden, we're gonna purchase and install a water barrel to water everything from the gutters. The community garden, please come get your vegetables. We have lots of tomatoes. Signs, we're putting signs up on the corner down here for the businesses. We're gonna put 4 of them up along with Billy's sign. So we're working on that. We have a purchase order system that we've been working on that we'd like the town to take over, and I'd like to pass this around. This is kind of what it's going to look like. Maybe I need to pass it to them. And we're putting up, Bee City signs on all sides of town so everybody can know that we're now stewards, isn't that correct? We're stewards.
Yes, we are
Yes.
certified pollinator stewards.
Yes,
What
which
does
is
that
pretty
mean?
neat.
What's that mean?
Means that, we went through a series of courses online, and after each course, had to write up, okay, how have we utilized that information? And then at the end, had to write up a report on, okay, how has this made a change? What have you changed? How do you see, going in the future?
What kind of tomatoes do you have?
Green ones and red ones?
Yeah, big ones.
I don't know, there's several different varieties.
beefsteak?
That, I'll take your word for it. I know we started some, but students at Cascade FFA started them for us. And in the process of planting, we lost the misplaced little stakes, so we were just happy they all did well.
Tomatoes, all right.
And I'd like to
I'm gonna go with
acknowledge the Yard of the Month, Ms. Marth-Akers.
Great job.
David
That's
was
it.
really happy.
She's worked very hard. She has.
He does.
Any questions? Board's council report. Friends of the historic Belleville School.
Bank balance as of July 31st was $80,630.13. We owe $400. The Sunset Gala tickets are on sale. That is September the 26th at Linfield Gardens. The tickets, if you wanna look at the Facebook post, you can QR code those, or if you eat at the cafe, the QR code's right there in front of you. We've got 3 sponsors so far. The second building hardening that we did on the school building was completed. We found 3 more areas that needed to be addressed. Some of those squirrels that had been visiting the theater had been at the school building, and so we evicted them for you. Omar has completed that project. We're pursuing a couple of grants, and the last item is our insurance renewal will happen in October. We anticipate renewing that.
Any questions about that? Any more updates? I was reading on the internet from the National Volunteer Fire Council, and August 18th is Volunteer Firefighter and First Responder Recognition Day. I'm gonna ask the board to pass the resolution proclaiming this day as for Belleville Fire Department. They answer the call whenever the community needs them, put in countless hours of training to prepare to serve, for acting with professionalism, courage, and compassion. And we thank those members of the fire department for your service, for your sacrifice and dedication. And if you will, I'll ask you to pass that resolution. I don't have it typed out formally, but I just found it this afternoon. No old business, new business, Mr. Jerry Cooney. You have the floor, sir.
Okay. Hand this out real quick. The question of the night tonight is, what does Bell Buckle want to be when it grows up? Okay? Bell Buckle is 174 years old. If you think it's grown up, it's not. Just take a look at our country, the different things are going on, the changes of everything taking place. And basically, change is inevitable, right? There is nothing in the physical universe that is immune to change. Change comes in 2 forms. It comes in increase or decrease. That's good or bad, right? Better or worse. Change is not, everything stays the same, right? Nothing stays the same. Everything, something can stay the same, like right now, for now, everything's the same. But now just came and went, right? Change is inevitable. It will happen all around us. If we don't take control of it, then it'll happen to us. So as the chair of the planning committee, I've been asked to have the planning committee get more involved with managing the town's growth and the economics and things that take place in town. However, I've been involved with the planning committee for a couple of years now, and the question I've always had in my mind is, when things have come up, I'm always like, what direction are we supposed to go? So what I'm asking today is for us to think about what Bell Boca wants to be when it grows up. And it doesn't mean getting big or anything like that. What it just means is what things are important to Bell Buckle historically, in the community, its reputation, all those type of things. What does Bell Buckle want to preserve? What are off limits? What are non-negotiable things it wants to keep? What things it's going to be that it wants to allow? It has to allow some things, otherwise, things won't work out. So we have to be able to change and control our change. Okay. So I'm asking at this point in time for a joint group session between BOMA and the planning committee to help outline that, okay? The planning committee can provide recommendations, do the research, but it doesn't have the authority to make those changes, the BOMA does. So the planning committee would look at different things based on what BOMA wants, and then we make the recommendations, and then you guys can take that into consideration. So, little things like, right now there seems to be a trend going on where properties are getting subdivided up, right? And what does that do? When you take a 1 acre piece of property, you put 3 houses on it, it increases your housing density. Is that something Bell Local wants? Okay? If not, Bell Local can change its ordinances to adapt to whatever the community wants. That's just one example. And other things like the residential areas, do they convert to commercial? Do they maintain commercial historic areas? All kinds of different things like that. So the planning committee wants to be able to do what's appropriate. We're in the process of going through the ordinances, finding things and making corrections, but we need direction from BOMA in order to do that. And BOMA needs to, we're asking BOMA to outline what exactly it wants to see, so then we can apply that vision into incorporating the ordinances for the next 10, 15 years to maintain or change or whatever the town wants to do. Okay, so it's real important that we take that into consideration. Yes, ma'am.
Would planning commission be willing to email these questions out to our email list to get input from the public?
Absolutely.
Actually, to go on that as well, what about actually mailing out a physical survey? Because not everybody goes on the internet, and I can tell you right now, all emails that come to my house from the water department go to my husband. My husband does not check them, so I would not see that. So if it came to the house and you had an addressed envelope so they could sit there and actually answer that, put it back in and send it in. So then it would be everybody that would be on the water, which would be in town, correct? Or
No,
how does
it'd
that
be,
work?
people get water outside of town. They
So
don't
would
get
this be
sewer.
then, okay, sewer. So then it would have to be in town proper, or would it be out of town proper?
My attitude would be, what do people in the surrounding area feel?
Okay.
And of course, if you're a developer, you're
Right, but no, but
different
it would be
mindset.
the people of Bell Buckle though. Developers outside of this, it would be Bell Buckle only. So if we could mail those questions to them.
Yeah. Lisa, is there any way to distinguish addresses from residents within Bell Buckle?
I think Debbie has them set up as routes, in her emails when she sends them. Each route would have, so. But like, everybody within Bell Buckle is a route. So that's an email list right there.
But if we wanted, as Tina says, if we wanted, paper sent out, is there a way to recognize, does the town have a list of addresses
Just within Bell Buckle.
just within Bell?
That'd be right one on the water.
Would it?
So that's a yes.
Okay.
Because you have to think about, individual, like my neighbors, I know they do not go on the email, they have post box, and that's where they go, and that's how they are notified of things in town. So, that's why you would get more answers back, I believe, going old school.
Yeah, well, we could send it out by paper first, set an amount of time, and then if the response doesn't seem to be good, we could always shoot it.
Email or.
Lisa, would you need help, holding on? Just holler at me and I can come down here.
So what do you want to do with the returns?
I think we find out how many returns we get. Yeah, if the response is 1%, it's basically invalid information. If it's, 20% or more.
Well, whatever it is, whatever it is 1 or 50 that come in, still, they'll all come in. So how do you want to go through, what's the best way, let me ask that question, what's the best way to go through that information to discern what that's all about? And then basically take your input, and basically meld your input in with that and come up with some guideline or some.
I think you compile it into a spreadsheet.
Okay.
No, I don't mind doing that. Now, unless the responses are,
So-
every response is totally
See,
different.
it puts it out there too, because then everybody has their voice.
So we'll know which one is yours then, right?
There we go.
So ultimately, the board then has to go through that information, and discern that information, and provide that as a guideline to the planning commission, right? So,
Well, again, I always have an opinion. My
Go for it.
opinion would be that planning and aldermen meet after we have the data. If you don't have any
yes,
data.
and that's
you
what I'm
just-
suggesting is a joint workshop to go through that stuff.
Okay,
Yes.
after
Yes.
we get.
And then basically, the compilation of those results and all that, then you bring that to the board votes on it, and then that becomes basically our Bible for what we do as we go through the ordinances and make it fair, and things like that.
Is it like a survey?
Yeah, basically like a
We
survey.
can maybe
Keep
get
it
some,
simple.
we could get some feedback from where the park did a survey,
Sure,
that, you know.
sure.
people-
And you've got the data from that?
I don't. I could see if Jim or Katie Felicis could help
Yeah,
us.
we could compile that into it
Mhm.
also, their responses.
This isn't public comment time, so I'll wait and comment during public time on the part.
Okay. Anything else you were planning?
No, so again, just remember, my final statement is, what does Bell Local want to be when it grows up? Change is coming and it takes form of growth or it can take form of decline. What does Bell Local want to be when it grows up? What should we do today to make sure we get there, okay? So, we're just, and that term, what do we want to do when we grow up, is just a fun term that we can throw around. And it's just like anything else. I have a daughter that's college and she's trying to figure out her life, and I tell her all the time, you're gonna grow up whether you like it or not, so better get on planning on what you wanna do, because it's gonna happen anyway, right? And that's the same thing that's gonna happen here. We gotta get a plan.
Can I
Yes,
ask
sir.
a question?
Yes, sir.
Is this a reference to Bell Buckle proper within the city limits? Or is this, surrounding, area?
Well, from the planning commission's point of view, it is the proper, the local proper. Now, if the board wants to take into consideration people that live all the way around, because they're all part of the community as well, because they come in and do everything else, then that's fine too. But the planning commission is chartered with everything within the boundaries of the city. It doesn't do things, out and around the county and stuff like that.
Because I thought there were already some guidelines about building, construction.
Yes.
Size of lots, types of, businesses and/or construction that can be done inside the city limits?
In fact, the ordinances are online, you can go see them, you can look through them, there's extensive amounts of ordinances with that. And so we're going through the process of going through that, making sure they meet what we want, right? Because those ordinances have been drafted over the years, and things have come in and come and gone and so forth, and things are changing around town, around the world, right? So as things change, we wanna make sure our ordinances keep up with those changes, because things that we're not even in our minds 5 years ago, are now come up, so we're like, oh, we don't have anything in the ordinances about that, we better do that. Because if we don't, then if someone comes in, if a developer comes in and wants to do that, and it's not part of our ordinances, you can't stop it, the town can't stop it. So the town has to anticipate different things that could take place based on now and the future and trends that are happening out there, and if we don't, then the town will be powerless to stop a lot of things that happen, so that's primarily what it is. It's a review of all our ordinances that we do have, and then, they're, just like any other human document, there's mistakes there's things that can be corrected, there's things that can be better, right? So they always can make those documents and those ordinances better, and review them and update them, so that's what we're trying to do at this point.
Well, the fact that you put in what types of growth are acceptable, and where should growth occur, and where should it not occur, I think that takes into account, surrounding areas.
Sure, sure,
We have an urban growth boundary.
yes.
It's the end of our water lines, so that includes outside the city limits. And the planning commission is responsible for deciding what happens out there as well. Are you not aware of that?
I may be mistaken in that regard, but I believe, and I don't know exactly where the boundary is.
The boundary is the end of our water lines.
Okay, well, that's fine too, that's fine, and then if that's what it is, then that's what it is.
Yeah, that's the urban growth boundary, and so Bell Buckle has a say in what happens out there.
Then that's fine as well,
Yeah,
sure.
so I think maybe.
Again, I
Well, at
don't
least you know
have,
now.
pardon?
So at least you know, so.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem with where the boundaries are, okay? Wherever they are, that's perfectly fine. I don't, I'm good with that. Just provide, I'm just looking for BOMA to provide the direction of what the planning committee, what you want the planning committee to do, right? So we basically, you guys are the elected ones, the planning committee is appointed, and so we take the orders from BOMA, so just tell the planning committee what things are important to you. The town, you guys elected your officials, you tell them, they tell the board, the planning commission what you want the planning commission to do. So, and everything that we do, all it is recommendations to the board for them to decide what's good and not good, so.
So do you think then, since we do have a say in what happens outside the city limits, that we might include those people?
Sure, I have no objections to that at all.
Yeah, so that would
No.
include all the water customers.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Any other thoughts or questions?
I heard that they're gonna open up the boundary, or urban growth boundary, and the county working with, Norman Music Board, Trace and Bell Buckle on that, and I don't know what all the details are. They're gonna open it up for a study,
Okay,
so.
see what happens there.
That should be interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Mark, I just had a question from somebody, and I realized I didn't understand. I know the Peacock subdivision is made up of, 6 lots of record? Okay, and I know that means they get water, even though they're not 5 acres. I understand all that. But they were made lots of record in 1922, if I remember correctly. So how does that relate to sewer? Because town didn't have a sewer system in 1922, did it?
No, from the ordinances that Bell Buckle has, if the sewer is within, I think it's 100 feet, they can hook onto it. If it's not, then they have to provide a way to get to it if you allow it to go to there.
Well, wait a minute now, that would mean that if somebody has a lot outside of town that's smaller than 5 acres, if I understand what you're saying, and the sewer line, they don't mind running a line back to the city limits,
One, they can't have under 5 acres outside of the city limits.
well, but that to get water is what you're saying. Okay, so that's the catch-22. Okay, but, again, these lots of record, I know they can be smaller because they existed from 1922, but I'm still not clear on why they get sewer.
You don't have to. This board controls that. I mean,
Okay, so,
if
but
they
we
put in a
have,
septic system,
okay, but we haven't voted on giving them sewer access, have we?
no,
Okay, that's what confused me. Okay, thank
we
you.
haven't voted anything, so
Okay, thank you.
it was talked about, early on, when it was coming up for annexation stuff. But that didn't work out, so it hadn't been brought up again before we get the sewer, that I know of.
Well, I knew you talked about a small line coming from the subdivision, and that's why I thought it was a done deal, but it's not. Okay, thank you.
I have some information on that right here, if you wanna look at it. I went to the register of deeds.
How big are the lots?
Don't
Just
know
under
this-
an acre, I think.
And that means that the, developer, since these existed, pre-existed, will have to put in a road, won't he? Because if I understand correctly, basically, the lots are rectangular, I mean, the land is a rectangle, a long rectangle. So, in order for those individuals to get to Peacock, how will they get to Peacock is my question.
They would face Peacock and they would come out on Peacock.
All six
And
of the
the others
lots
would face Liberty
Peacock
Pike.
or Liberty Pike.
Okay, I'm confused. Okay, this is the rectangle.
There's 3 lots facing Peacock, correct?
Okay, 3 lots facing Peacock, which is right there, and then 3 lots facing,
Liberty Pike.
well, if I understand this correctly, there's a house in front.
That's the fourth one. There's actually 4 lots there.
Okay,
Isn't that right?
I think so, yeah.
okay. I know about stuff. Here's Peacock. I understand you could put 3 houses there. Are the other 3 gonna back up to
So
them?
this is actually divided right here to the middle.
Uh-huh,
So these are 3, and then these are 3.
and that's Liberty Pike?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. I'm not good at redo. Thank you. So they don't actually have to have.
Public input. Ms. Bree?
In regards to the 6 lots, I thought since it's sold as one lot, that they couldn't divide that up to the 6 lots. Is that not true?
If it was sold as one lot, they can't divide it. But I checked with planning in Bedford County, and he said it was sold as 6 lots. It started out in 1922 as 6 lots. He said it's really weird. He said Bedford County all over the place, there are places that were set up as multiple lots, but over the years, they've been purchased as one piece of land. And he said, for some weird reason, that one has never been designated as one lot. So, yeah, I double checked with planning in Bedford County.
The last deed record, when he sold, references those lots by
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, that's what he's,
Yeah.
planning said in Bedford County. He said as far as he knows, it's the only time in Bedford County lots that old has continued.
So anything that's grandfathered in,
Public
no matter
input.
what, is good. And anyone's lot.
I have a question, I think for you.
Hey.
If you've been working for the town since, you say 2010?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to know your opinion, given all of what you already know about our water and sewer system and the work that you described like it's gonna be done, does that impact the town's ability to even grant sewer taps? Cause it sounds like the system's pretty stressed already.
Are you talking about capacity for new connections?
Yes.
We just finished a flow monitoring study where we measured the I&I removal. So once we get the final report finished, then we'll know what capacity that we regained. And so I don't have an answer to that now, but we would have an answer after we finalize the flow monitoring report to see what the capacity in the system is. Your plant has a capacity of 150,000 gallons a day that's permitted with the state. And so getting a new treatment plant with a higher capacity is a thing. However, that would, right now, we would need to use that data to see, number one, do you need that? Number two, do you want that, which ties in with what you're talking about here. Certainly, if you're planning on enlarging your sewer base, certainly that would be a consideration. Number three, and most importantly, can the receiving stream be permitted for more? And so those are very valid questions and points that certainly the town would have time during the design process to provide input on. And that we would have gotten to that at some point in design early on, because, you know, you're designing a plant for 50 years, and so that's part of the consideration is what does Bell Buckle look like 40 years from now. So, very valid question.
I have a question.
Andy's got a question.
So, has ground been broken on Peacock Street, on those lots?
Is what?
Has ground been broken?
No.
Then I'd like to see the board put the brakes on that until we get the engineer's report, because I think those water taps were granted without consulting the engineering firm as to what the impact would be on those water customers, if any of our current water customers would be affected. So that would kind of pump the brakes here. I realize that the taps have already been paid for, but since ground has not been broken, I think we have a leg to stand on to say, we gotta stop and take a look at this. We need to get this engineering report. Do you have any idea when that report might be available?
We're trying to finish within the month.
Okay, so maybe for the next.
This is sewer only, I'm not sure
Oh, it's
what
just
you're
the
talking
sewer.
about, but yes.
So
ma'am,
you
it's
weren't,
sewer
the engineering firm wasn't consulted about what 6 more taps
only. No, ma'am.
out there would do?
I'm not aware of the. what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think maybe we need to take a look at that before we go any further or before they break ground. My personal
Ronnie,
opinion.
am I misunderstanding it? In talking to planning, my understanding was when those 6 lots were created, they were told they were given the right to have 6 water taps. Is that correct, or am I misunderstanding?
Don't know that. I don't think it was until the last meeting, when we did the lots of record for us granting water to it. Because they're not 5 acres.
Well, I understand that, but I thought because they were lots of record, they pre-existed, and I think I misunderstood. I thought that meant that they had been told at the time that the lots were created that yes, you can get water.
I don't recall that conversation happening, but there's water on both sides of the property. So, you know.
That's why I asked in the email, could the town provide the documentation about the 6 lots, exactly what they're entitled to and what is up to us?
it's gonna require a water line extension anyway.
The water line's extension is
We're
when
not-
you add pipe.
Huh?
A water line extension is when you add pipe, not when you make a tap.
Well, my understanding though is the water is out at the road, and don't you have to go this way to give them water?
You have to put a meter at the road, they take the line from there.
Okay, but is it on, is there a meter, you're gonna put 3 meters on Liberty Pike and 3 meters on Peacock?
That was the plan, yeah.
Okay, so, but
And then it'd be the
do they
homeowners.
go directly to those homes, directly to those lots? There's no, in other words, it doesn't go like this and then tee off.
No.
It
1
goes-
meter, 1 meter, 1 house.
1 meter, 1 house.
That's in the road.
Okay. I still would like the engineer to take a look and see what's gonna happen.
Our rules and regs allow for a hydraulic study, I think. It may not be the term that's used, but it determines how much load you put on the system.
Yeah.
So, and usually the developer pays for that.
Okay.
And we tried to do a model, and it seemed like every time we turned around, something was going haywire with that. So, I still wanna do it. If we can get the right meters and everything put on the system.
So,
But whatever the board, wants to do, that's.
again, like I say, I just think maybe we need to just stop and take a breath.
My concern is the legality. What are we legally obligated to do?
That's what you're trying to ask.
Thank you, David.
But in 1920, did we even have water out there? In 1920 or 22, did our water line extend to there?
He didn't come in 1936.
Okay, so they weren't promised water when they.
I'm not that old, I don't.
I feel that old.
Well, that's the date they brought up, 1922.
Yeah,
I mean,
so,
there's still 5 or 6 houses from the Peacock subdivision. Those houses, how did they get water?
Well, probably,
Oh,
yeah. Some of the houses in town, they had off of the, there was a tank up there where the new fire hall's sitting. And there was a spring back there, they pumped water into it, and then it fed out to some of the houses in town. He come down here too, probably. But, that's the way they got water. And the rest of them had wells, and I guess the wells got contaminated, and they applied and got water through WPA, and had the water system built with water tracer.
does that paperwork you have, does that have actual, the 1922 documentation of the lots? Thank you, David, I couldn't hear what I was trying to say.
What obligates us?
Well, that's what I wanna know, are
What you're
we?
asking, what obligates us, because it was a subdivision in 1920 or whatever, 22.
We set
Does
up.
that mean that the town has to give those taxes?
That's what I'm asking.
That's what you're asking?
Yeah, that,
That's a very good question that I was
when I
wondering.
called the planning department, they said, oh, they're lots of record, yeah, you have to give them water.
What, look at that, where I circle that arrow,
And I
and
thought,
see if that has Liberty Pike, and if it is, it does show them.
but I mean, does the,
Up at the top.
But
See
Ron,
the arrow?
yes,
Is that Liberty Street, Liberty Pike? My old eyes, what could
I have
be?
no clue, David, can you or somebody else tell? I'm terrible. Proportional stuff. I couldn't see the name of anything.
My eyes suck too.
Hmm?
So my eyes
Don't take off.
Okay.
Okay,
can you read it?
I can't hear or see.
This is what we got right here.
Okay, so then maybe it'll be
This
over
is,
there.
yeah.
Okay, but again, I'm not sure what does that have to do with our responsibility as far as providing water and,
So because it's a subdivision of record connected with the town, we're obligated to do no?
We're not obligated to provide water to, I don't guess, anybody outside the city.
well, that was,
But
You talked to who? And they said we had to.
planner and, but, you know, maybe I got the wrong person. Maybe I didn't make myself clear.
with the Greenwood subdivision and the Ransom Season subdivision on the hill, we passed, approval for those lots up there. And I brought this up because of that,
Well,
so.
that's a little bit different, because that goes back to a grant that wasn't spent the way it should have been.
I don't know what I heard you, what'd you say?
The town was given a grant probably 80 years ago
Yes.
to supply water on the hill and sewer, and somehow the money went to pay for something else. So,
Where'd you go?
I don't think anybody knows.
Well, I went to work after that.
Yeah. So that's a lot of why the hill, if they wanted to, they could take, people on the hill could take the town to court and say, look, this was.
I don't wanna argue with anybody.
Yeah.
I've talked to Lori Fisher about that, and she said it's been so many years after the grant was closed out that doesn't hold water now.
Well,
That's what-
yeah,
she said.
you're getting into racial issues, and I just think it's a can of worms nobody wants to open, on the hill, but this is very different. This was a planned subdivision, so you're saying, from the town's point of view, we are not required to provide either water or sewer to this subdivision.
I think their concern is the amount of water we're adding to the system
Uh-huh.
might take away from somebody else.
Oh, I
can
understand
appreciate
that. I understand that, but, as I said, my concern is, could they ask to be annexed?
It's already been asked to annex, I think, but.
Oh, okay.
But it is contingent now because Lynn Lane is, the house that's there at the corner, make that contingent, so it could be.
Oh, yeah, and Janie doesn't wanna be annexed. She said.
We, did a study on annexing the hill area where the water and sewer went in. And, I don't think very many people up there wanted to be annexed.
Well, I mean, yeah, I
And
mean.
the cost to the town was terrible. For every dollar you took in tax money, you paid out $7.
Wow.
Well,
So,
That's great.
And in Tennessee, the resident has to ask to be annexed.
yeah.
We don't have any control over.
And we talked about doing Peacock all the way up to the end. And there was only one person that wanted to be annexed. So,
Well, I think I just confused the situation.
wherever the pleasure of the board is on that, you know, or going forward. Anything else on that? All right.
Ronnie, I was
I
gonna
think we got away from
I was
Yes, sir.
gonna comment on the, planning questions on, from the park standpoint. Since I've been on the board, we had 2 grants, and both times part of the prerequisite on the grants was a survey. So we've done 2 surveys in the park. And each one was done differently. And I would say probably the first one that was done was the most effective one, because it reached more people at the specific targets of the answers and didn't provide an answer in the question that we were striving to get a yes on. You know, we left it for open from the responses, but it still gave data that was needed. And then at the conclusion of the survey, the group that was responsible for doing it for us internal to our committee summarized the survey and provided that information as a summary. And that was the point I wanted to make, that summary of the data in a way that's understandable and provides information is probably the most valuable part of it.
So what you're saying is the questions were open, so it wasn't a yes or no answer?
We had both.
You had both.
Some targeted a specific desire of a yes or no, but then also had open-ended questions for additional personal view input beyond that we were trying to capture as well. And that was, the last one was done to update our master plan, which was originated with the origin of the park itself. So we definitely needed updating. But that's kind of what you're after, is the master plan for the town.
Yeah, the questions here. Do you want to see? Okay. And you said you did 2 surveys?
We did one way back on the, about 5 years ago, actually, for a TDEC grant. When we were updating the signage and getting trees and supplies in the park. And then the more recent one was done as a smaller kind of survey and a much smaller target. But it met the requirements, again, of the request for recreation facilities.
Do you have a copy of those? Somewhere?
They're in the file somewhere. I could probably pull them.
Okay. That'd be great.
Yeah. And we have the summaries in our minutes.
All right. We're back to public input again. Public input.
Are you going to get to the agenda items?
We're done with all that.
I thought that was on the agenda.
It's your turn.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. This is going to be short.
No.
Oh, it is, trust me. There are, its title is Facts and Logic. It has 4 facts that are indisputable facts, followed by some logic, some formal logic. And I'll preface this by saying the formal logic section was sent to an attorney who had done university coursework in formal logic in preparation for law school. He examined it and said the logic is absolutely valid. And the facts, I believe everyone will agree, whether you like the facts or not, I think everyone will have to agree that those are facts. The first fact, when the newly elected board members join the board, a majority of the board will favor removing the Flock Artificial Intelligence Surveillance Network Unit from Bell Buckle, and the board will vote to do it. Second fact, having that Flock unit in Bell Buckle has created anger and division. Third fact, this anger and division is bad for Bell Buckle. Fourth fact, the sooner the flock-related anger and division is eliminated or even reduced, the better. It's a bad thing, so the sooner it's eliminated or at least reduced, the better. The sooner the better. Now, here comes the logic. Therefore, rather than waiting to eliminate or at least significantly reduce the flock-related anger and division, the current board should do it now by having the flock surveillance unit removed from Bell Buckle. That is the right thing to do. That's it.
I have 3 requests. one thing is get a speaker system where we can hear everybody
Thank you.
that I've requested before. Number two, has a sign with, say, arrows going one way or another out here at the railroad track, so maybe it'll prevent people from going across the railroad tracks and getting stuck. Has that been requested?
We've talked to CSX, we've talked to TDOT, and they both deny owning that property.
Deny what?
They deny owning the property. They're not gonna do anything about it.
Okay,
But I have heard there's somebody gonna do something about it in just a few days. So we'll wait and see. I'll report at the next meeting.
okay, well, this is my point. If they aren't going to do anything, what would prevent us from just putting up our own sign that says, go right or left?
Amen.
Ask CSX that.
I'm sorry?
Ask CSX that.
Well,
They don't
isn't that
know.
one of those things of ask permission, then, or ask forgiveness and, you know, put it up and see what happens?
Well, if it's not CSX's
CSX don't work
property.
that way.
It's not their problem.
Okay, well, maybe we should put it up and just see what happens.
If it's not, if they,
CSX does have their own police department.
but if they
So-
say it's not their property,
Okay.
then.
Well, they could come
They
up
have a
and
50-foot
say,
easement.
we don't like your sign,
I
take
saw Russ
it
doing
down.
it.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, it's dark at night. The third thing is, y'all have a lot of responsibilities and, have a lot of obligations to the citizens of Bell Buckle, make a lot of decisions. In regards to the flock camera, there was a lot of objection to it. And unfortunately, it seems like that you just didn't listen to the objections. Or maybe you listened and you just didn't, didn't care. But, as our representatives, it seems like to me that if you have people that are objecting to it, you want to listen and do what the citizenry would like to do. So I'm disappointed because there was a lot of public meetings and people. I'm disappointed. I know y'all have a lot of very important decisions that you have to make, pertaining to, spending millions of dollars for a sewer system and decisions about, properties and water systems and all that business. But this was a situation that you heard loud and clear that we really didn't want the flock system. And there's been a lot of publicity around the country where cities are taking down the flock systems. And recently where it was abused by one of the, sheriff employees for their own personal use. Well, that's only one that has been, publicized. And who knows what else might wind up happening about the abuse that can occur with it. And so, I agree with John. I wish that y'all would take it down. Majority of people don't want it, and we've expressed our views of not wanting it. And wish you would consider going ahead and doing it. Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Every cloud has a silver lining. That's the way I see things. It has been wonderful to see so many residents of Bell Buckle come to the meetings, and that didn't happen before we had some kind of controversy.
We can work out something else later.
So I just think it may not be a pleasant controversy, but it has gotten people interested in what goes on in Bell Buckle.
And also got people out to vote.
There you go, got voters out.
We got way more voters this time than we've had previously.
This is in relation to the flock camera, but the sign out here that's stating that the railroad pass on Liberty, not Liberty Pike, but whatever road that is, on the other end, is there any way that sign can be moved from the road onto the grass? Cause I'm looking at the flock camera, I'm looking for people, and when I turn, that's what I see is that stop sign, or that sign
I almost
stating.
hit it twice.
Yeah,
T-Dot put it there, yeah, it's at Christiana where they're working, I believe.
right, it is, over the railroad, but if they can move that to the grass so we can look at pedestrians and look at the flock camera and other vehicles instead of looking at that sign trying to get into our community. It's in the street. I just don't think it's a safe place for it to be.
I'll check with T-Dot tomorrow.
Not to put it in the grass.
Have them move.
Sorry about it.
Yes, sir. I would like to say something to my cousin. Controversy is good. It means people disagree, but they disagree nicely and they're not angry and it's not tearing the town apart. Anger and division, that's bad. Controversy just means you think we should paint something pink and I think we should paint it green and we argue about it. That's much different than anger and division. And we have had anger, we still have it, anger and division.
Thank you.
Thank you, cuz.
I've kind of kept my feelings about the flock to myself for a while, and when y'all voted it in, I was okay with it because it was just right there in Bell Buckle, and I thought, well, it'll help people, you know? Well, then you drive down Fairfield Pike, and there's one at the end of Fairfield Pike, so now they're beginning to make a grid and watch what everybody's doing. And when you put that together, I'm completely against the block.
Wasn't there only supposed to be one?
No, they gave us a map and they showed us like where they were gonna be at.
Betsy, you made a motion last time to have it removed. You wanna make it again tonight? See what happens?
I would prefer to make it when we have the new members of the Board of Aldermen.
Works for me.
I think they need to be able to have input.
Got it.
And it's just next month's meeting, isn't it?
Didn't we do
Yeah,
both?
The reason we're not swearing in the new alder people is because the election has not been certified. And it'll be certified day after tomorrow. And then it'll be ready to go for the September meeting. Who is that over there?
Robin. Me. Robin. I think that's a good idea about seeing if we could go ahead and make that vote. I think that it would kind of solidify the alderperson's last acts here. If they still decide they don't want to take down the flock camera, then I just kind of think that maybe they should have a redemption moment if somebody decides they want to go ahead and say, hey, can we vote to remove it? And if you guys still don't vote to remove it, then it'll be taken care of eventually. But maybe, I'm curious to see if you guys would go ahead and take it down now. Anybody? No?
Okay. That cuts all those poles down.
Why can't they feel the way they feel, you know? It's
I'm just asking.
Okay, well, I'm just commenting on your question,
Well,
if
because
that's okay.
there are elected.
Sure, okay, I get that, but he stood for what he felt would help the town, no matter whether it got him votes or not. He got voted out probably because of the flock, but that's fine. But he stood by how he felt it would help people in that. You know, there's positions where just because you think you can agree to disagree, but stop cutting them down all the time.
Yes.
It's over.
Like I said in the last meeting, I don't think they have permission to take the flock camera down. I think this is a federal
It's
initiative.
been
that's
done plenty of times,
pushing.
maybe just tell.
I kinda take offense to you kinda pointing that out to me, saying I'm cutting them down, but I just was asking.
Come on.
Not at all.
You know, the public input on anything else.
That was the anger and the division.
One of the regular meetings. Minutes from the previous month, I'll, take a motion to dispense with the reading.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye. All word. Approve the minutes from the previous month.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? All right. Humphrey? Any further discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Financial reports. Is there a motion? Second? Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Two votes here, the Cascade Tank Rehab resolution, where we're gonna spend about $500,000. So I'll take a motion to approve this task order with LJA to, get that going. Nobody wants to spend
I'll
money?
make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion, any questions? This is part of the agreement that we agreed to when they had the director's order. They said that the tank was in need of repairs and needed painting, and, so, this is the result. We're going sandblast inside and out, new coat of paint, and, get it in working order again. It hasn't had anything done since it was put in there in 1993. So we got our money's worth out of that coat of paint. So, motion made and seconded.
That's a lot of work.
All in favor, aye. Opposed, so ordered. The other one is
Eating liver.
authorization, providing for the financing of the construction of a wastewater facilities project. This is a $975,000, principal amount with $249,990 in loan forgiveness, for planning on the new wastewater plant. So, do I have a motion to enter into this agreement?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion, questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Okay, I think that took care of those two things. The only thing we got left is the resolution for recognition of Bell Walker Fire Department personnel. Do I have a motion to, sign that resolution for them?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Nothing else on there, so.
What do I have? Resolution 17010, that's that.
This is resolution 12446. Stand by.
Maybe it just somehow got in my paperwork.
I don't think that's anything that I gave you.
This is 2017. That must have been in your mic.
Quoting this for.
You have it,
You have it too?
Just the county.
oh, yeah.
Do you post
Okay, yeah, I've got
Yeah,
that.
I live stream it in a Facebook group, and then I post it on YouTube for rewatching.
Oh, really?
All in favor?
How do I find that?
Opposed?
It's in the Bell Buckle community, and then I
Oh,
put the
okay.
link there too.
Well, thanks. Are we done?